Firstly, let me thank Prime Minister Bainimarama for hosting us tonight, and also acknowledge the former president of Fiji, Ratu Epeli, and his lovely wife, ministers of state for both the governments of Fiji and Papua New Guinea, members of parliament, all our members of the diplomatic corps, senior government officials from the Republic of Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much again for giving this great honor to myself and, of course, to Papua New Guinea. This has been a very memorable and very productive visit to your lovely country. Again, I thank the good Prime Minister and his government for the hospitality that has been extended to myself and my delegation. In fact, the welcome ceremony last night was very heartfelt and very much appreciated. Thank you, Prime Minister, and thank you to our people who were there yesterday on that occasion. The friendship between our two countries displayed over the past 2 days is again a testament to the relationship that Papua New Guinea enjoys with Fiji. It started some 43 years ago, and a very clear indication of the relationship that we have just established right after our independence in September. So Fiji is, of course, the first country in which we established diplomatic relations with for a new country of Papua New Guinea. It was also a great honor to address your parliament and meet with your ministers and members of parliament. And again, I wish to thank the understanding and the opportunity given to me at the back of a very lively debates on the budget that you have presented on behalf of government. Mr. Prime Minister, we all share the same sentiments in Parliament, so I fully understood the debates that were going on, but it was a great honor to myself and Papua New Guinea. I also had an opportunity to meet the Fiji PNG Business Council today, where we discussed some of the opportunities that are available between our two countries, aimed at deepening more trade and investment between our two countries, building small to medium enterprises and building businesses, creating more jobs for both countries, an important part of a development agenda that we have. That is why it was a great pleasure to engage with many of the businesses, both from Papua New Guinea and Fiji, who work and live and, of course, continue to do business in both our countries. Mr. Prime Minister, I also had an opportunity to visit the University of South Pacific this afternoon, where I had an engaging discussions with some of the students and staff, and it was a great pleasure to address this auspicious audience on that occasion. Education is a key development sector for both our countries, and our people's future lie in education. That is why I want to express our appreciation on this occasion, where we have continuing exchange of students, more so from Papua New Guinea to Fiji than the other way around. But for Fiji to continue since our independence and even before, to provide support to many of our leaders and learned friends in Papua New Guinea as a result of their education in your lovely country. And Mr. Prime Minister, let me assure you that we will continue to build on this. Papua New Guinea will sign up to being a full member of the University of South Pacific. In terms of our bilateral discussion, we covered many areas of mutual interest. When my delegation returns to Port Moresby, we will follow up on some of these issues. And of course, we will communicate to making sure that we have the final arrangements in building our chanceries in both countries. We have to look long term. We must have a more stronger presence in both countries. That is why we look forward to working closely with your team in making sure that we allocate a prime spot in our diplomatic circle in Port Moresby so that Fiji can have a standalone embassy for itself. I will also be instructing our officials so that we can have a closer look at establishing a free trade agreement between our two countries. As you know, Papua New Guinea has been proposing far greater labor mobility within the region, more particularly for the MSG countries, because we have common culture, we have common understanding. The Melanesian people have similar habits in terms of consumption and, of course, their ways of life. That is why we wish to have our officials continue to have their discussions so that we can have a freer movement of people between our two countries, particularly for trade and investment, for business leaders who wish to come and live and work in Papua New Guinea. It should not be an issue, and we want to open up our immigration obligations so that it's much easier for them to arrive and work. As we prepare for the upcoming elections, Papua New Guinea stands ready together with the other MSG countries so that we can support you in any way we can. As we have done in the past, we are ready to support you. More so, of course, on the request for an observer team from MSG countries to be present during the elections. We value democracy quite well in all our countries, and I want to stress that Papua New Guinea is committed to that. And therefore, we will support you in any way we can. And of course, the remains of 30 Fijian soldiers who lost their lives in our country during Second World War II, including the recipient of the Victorian Cross. I can assure you that these brave men lay in our country, and we will continue to honor them and respect them. And we will work closely with your government in how we continue to determine how we take care of them into the future. In terms of the global agenda, I know that Fiji is taking a very strong leadership in terms of climate change. Papua New Guinea is a strong leading supporter of your presidency of COP23. Climate change presents a very serious threat and challenge for the Pacific. And natural disasters impact many of our people, many people who can least afford to rebuild their lives. Terrible cyclones here in Fiji. Papua New Guinea, we've experienced a devastating drought for over 8 months or so, where many of our communities, particularly down the coast, are falling victim to rising sea levels. We will continue to work together in these forums so that the concerns of the Pacific have been made well known to the international community. And in that regard, Papua New Guinea also supports Fiji's bid for the elections to the United Nations Commission for Refugees. We will certainly follow this up with our mission in New York in making sure that Fiji has the necessary support to attain that membership. Also, as you've stated, Prime Minister, Papua New Guinea is going to host APEC for the first time in its 21-year history as a member of that community. The final meetings will take place in November with the Leaders Summit. We are trying to create a bridge between the Pacific, the rest of the Pacific who are not members of APEC, with that community, and of course the Pacific countries itself. And that is why Papua New Guinea is very pleased that we have invited all the leaders and their officials and their business delegations to come and join us on this occasion. We want APEC in Papua New Guinea to be very much a Pacific-style APEC. We want it to be relaxed, where leaders are not under enormous stress of security, as it has been the case in many other APEC hosting countries. We want to enhance the position of the Pacific to the APEC community. We have been largely ignored because of the smallness of our nations, but APEC is more than just Asia. We must present it as a Pacific initiative as well, and we want Pacific Island countries to be an active member in this very important economic forum, where, as I stated earlier, it controls close to 50% of global trade. the 21 nations, and these are some of the largest economies in the world. China, United States, and Japan leading the way. Russia and many other countries in the region. And also they control well over 50%. I think it's close to 60% of global GDP. This is a very important economic forum that we need to take advantage of. It is supposed to be representative of our region as a whole, from South America to North America, across to Russia and further down the Asian communities. This is a huge market, and I think it presents a lot of opportunities for both Fiji and Papua New Guinea, but more so the Pacific as a whole. That is why we will be inviting all the leaders to come there. And also the President of China will be making a state visit to Papua New Guinea for 2 days prior to the APEC leaders meeting. And we look forward to him engaging more on an individual basis with the other leaders of the 8 Pacific Island countries that recognize one China policy. The President is very keen on those discussions, and I welcome our Prime Minister, Bainimarama, who will be also present in Port Moresby, but also wishing him to speak at the APEC CEO Summit. This is a very important summit. At the sides of the leaders' meeting, most of the leaders will be addressing the CEO Summit, and from the Pacific, I've invited Bainimarama to represent us and have a conversation with largely an international Fortune 500 companies. Well over 9,000 delegates will be there, who represent the cream of the global business community. I think it's, again, a good opportunity for us to present our case on behalf of the region. Let me say once again that, Prime Minister, thank you very much for the invitation to visit your lovely country. PNG and Papua New Guinea continues to enjoy a very strong relationship. It's getting stronger each year. And I think tonight is not the time for long speeches, but it's time to relax and, of course, enjoy your company. And I thank you again for your hospitality. We look forward to engaging with you on the climate change issues here in Suva, and, of course, our PIF meetings in Nauru and meetings beyond that in California for the climate change issues. APEC in Port Moresby is another opportunity for us to engage. Again, these visits continue to strengthen our relationship. May God bless Fiji. May God bless Papua New Guinea. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, could you be upstanding for a toast? To the President of the Republic of Fiji, to the government of the Republic of Fiji, and to the people of the Republic of Fiji. Bula vinaka.